Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, My Desire. And of course, we got Sherelle in the house and
Hey,
Jamal. What up, y'all?
What's
hey,
up, what's up, what's
hey.
up?
All right, are y'all ready for this? Because we doing a whole lot in a short space of time because we about to give these people the real, okay? Everybody has now officially binged Harlem, and I am very interested in seeing what comments and different answers we come up with on this journey. So let's get into it. All right, your girl Camille, heartbroken, okay, over Ian. And back there, who is it that says that? I think it's Quinn. No, it's Angie that says you're giving me really 2006 vibes, right? Because this is how
Mm-hmm.
she was last time. So, what do we think about this whole eating ice cream in bed and really being like distraught over seeing your ex again? Like, what are we thinking about that, Sherelle?
It was a lot because it's been 6 years. I'm just like, okay, why was this the response to this after 6 years, right? Or was it 5 years?
Is it
Four
five?
years.
Four. Yeah,
Four,
it's
four
four.
years.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was extra. But do whatever you need to do to get through whatever you need to get through. I'm cool with that. But it was a lot. The ice cream, the chips everywhere, the candy everywhere. She hadn't taken a shower. I'm just like, all right, sis, you act like you really just went through like a whole breakup.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who you thought you was going to spend the rest of your life with has moved on and is getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
It's a big deal. I mean, what do you think, Jamal?
I I I think that's the only part I really didn't like in this episode because it's like you really played into the stereotype that like every time a girl gets her heart broken,
I
she's
agree.
binging on snacks and ice cream and all of that, and then to have the Hershey syrup in the bed and like taking it to the head, and
She was a little bit ridiculous.
It
yeah,
was very
it's
much
just like
ridiculous.
and it's just like what the hell is going on? But I think it's when you're heartbroken, you're bound to do anything. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's just her way of coping with it. But that's just was my favorite part of this.
Right.
I needed her to think of do something else or be another way. But I'm glad she wasn't crying like they showed her in the previous episode when they were talking
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just I just didn't like that stereotype that they played into because it's just like I don't know. I know I don't do that. I don't know about
Yeah.
you all.
No.
So just
I
that
mean,
part
I
just
think
didn't
when
seem
you have a
realistic.
really bad breakup, you're not really
No.
sure how. But everybody reacts differently. I don't think the eating in bed thing, but maybe just the kind of crying or sulking, it's like don't want to come out
Hmm.
the house for a day or two because you just need to
Yeah.
process it. So, I get that. But her girls showed up for her. They're like, listen, we're not doing this again. We're not gonna let you sulk. We're not gonna let you get depressed. We're getting out this house. We're gonna go
Yes.
out. And they decide that they are gonna go to
Black girl
is it this
magic.
shit? Right, yeah, the Black Girl Magic show, which was out of this world, okay? Ridiculous. And it's so
Yeah.
funny because they were like, well, what the hell, Quinn? She was like, well, it was 10% off on Groupon. That's like the
Hmm.
magic person's go to when you bored in the house and you can't find anything to do, you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Groupon. So really outlandish, but here we see that Ty is having oh, this is not the scene, but I think that it's just interesting that Ty is still kind of just like, well, talking about, I think it's Anna, right? She's talking
Hmm.
about Anna,
Yeah.
because she tells them that she screwed the interviewer, and I'm wondering if it was that a little bit like, I don't want to say, I can't use the word cliche, but I'm thinking like, was that a good coincidence, or did you see that and be like, oh, really?
I saw that and I fell out laughing.
Yeah.
And because
That's crazy.
art imitate life. It happens.
Right,
It
right, that's
happens.
true.
And I think within the fields that they're both in, like Anna is a freelance writer, so she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even write for Forbes, but she was hired to write for that particular piece. Now, I don't know if
Right.
there was a backstory with them, like knowing that Anna's a lesbian and she's, this is a queer act that they're
I think she
interviewing
was
someone
just
for.
filling
He was
in,
filling
and
in for the
she
person
was
who
just filling in.
didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But how do we feel about how they handled it and like the conversation in regards to how she, if Anna brought up the point in regards to since Ty doesn't want to date, people who are not POC, but she's willing to have sex with people who are not POC. What is the thought around that? Like, did you actually have a kind of a conversation in your head while watching it, saying like, that's interesting? Like, what did you think about that, Sherelle?
Yeah, it was definitely like a coincidence, an unplanned coincidence that Anna was even the person to be interviewing Ty in the first place. And then their little back and forth of like off recording and then recording it again.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
as far as fetishing, it's definitely something for Ty to think about, because when it was presented to her that way, she probably had never even thought like, damn, she has a point. I would
Yeah,
have
she
never.
stumbled, right? She
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was
what
like
was
it
that
caught her
person
off
again?
guard.
caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you definitely have to think about, because if I'm willing to be in a relationship with a person of color and then I'm only willing to have sex with you because you're not the idea of what I see, in a way is very respectful, and it happens with Black women a lot with other races. So for Anna to point that out, she's like, you know, you're fetishing me. But then I like
Mm-hmm.
Ty's comeback where she's saying like white women are the most desired women on the planet. So
Right.
you kind of don't get to say that I'm fetishizing you in a way, because technically you are the most desired woman in the world because of the color of your skin. But it was a good conversation that needed to be had, and I didn't even think that you know lesbian women would have to deal with something like that. But it's a part of life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just nice to see that dynamic.
Right. What you think, Jamal?
I love that conversation, to be honest with you. And even though, I'm rooting for everybody black, right is right, wrong is wrong. And Anna
Right.
put her in her place.
Hmm.
And I think that a different narrative was spun where it's like, okay, yes, I may be of the majority, but just like it's already known that that minorities are fetishized, we never speak about the reversal aspect of it. I mean, think about it. We've seen it joked about in movies and TV and even amongst friends, like, oh, you got Becky, you got a white dude, you got a white, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Right.
spins that play on it
Hmm.
and doesn't think, oh yeah, that's a part of a fetish too, or that's brownie points to say I could pull this person. So when Anna flipped it on her and kind of caught her off guard, it was just like,
Hmm.
well, shit. Now,
Right.
yeah, damn. I'm trying to check you, and you just check me. And
Yeah.
can I get a
Right.
do over? Like that's really what it was. And I actually appreciated it because it does happen, and it happened. And I think you made a good point, Sherelle, with mentioning about them being lesbians, because that's the one thing we don't talk about often. Like we know in heterosexual couples or heterosexual lifestyle, sexual lifestyles, it's always us tearing down a black man that gets with a white girl, or a white girl. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, or a black girl getting with a white man, and it's
Hmm.
Right.
just like, what I'm saying, that stereotype. But we never talk about your gays or your lesbians or whoever, because that's a real thing too,
Yep.
Right.
a very
Agree.
real thing. So
I
I
agree.
I, I liked it.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
good conversation.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So let's talk about bad dates, y'all. Let's talk about bad dates.
Yeah.
Awful dates, absurd dates, never in a million years would I think this would happen kind of date, right? Your girl Quinn, okay, she's at the table and she's like, oh, he texted me and oh, he's real and we just texted because it's old fashioned, and then we see that
That he
Quinn
FaceTimes her.
FaceTimes her. Okay, so let's talk about how desperate she was in that part of the episode. Cause child, he couldn't get 2 words out before she started talking about yes, 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 and it was just crazy. And I was just like, oh my God, girls. And I loved Camille's statement. She said it's a sad day when all a man has to do is exist. You know what I mean? That is it was rough. So one, do we think Quinn deserved that, right? Because you got to do more research when it comes to these dates, honey. But two, like first of all, a pyramid scheme, and then the girl comes home with a bag from the herbal supplements. Like, come on, let's talk about it. Like, what are your thoughts, Brandon? How is this working? Would you buy some of what he was selling if you ended up at a date like
not.
that?
Absolutely. Because here's the thing,
no.
though. Here's the thing. And it's not even just about me being a man and she being a woman. In the climate, in the days that we live in, these are dangerous times. And this is a man that you've never met in person, and he's telling you to meet him here. No. How about we both agree to meet in a common place, not some place that you picked out, but some place that we both know where to get to. Then on top of that, I felt not Camille, Quinn took the L for me big, because it's just like, she's so gullible.
I wouldn't even
so
stay.
naive she's so eager to get a man, but it's just like, damn, I know you don't want to be alone, but shit, value yourself. Like, you jumping at everything this man says, and you don't even know this man. You see, he FaceTimed you, okay, so you know he's real. But you don't know if this man your height, you don't know, you know what I'm saying? You don't know anything of the particulars. You don't know what this man got going on. And then peep this though. He asked her if she liked lobster, and she said yes. And then she's allergic. She's risking her health. She's risking her health just to get a man.
Child.
Like, for real. Like, nah,
we
can't fall that hard. We can't fall that hard. And then you get there. There's nothing but women in there. First of all, there's a woman coming to get you, and you ask, is this where we're having dinner?
Yeah,
right. Food is served.
Food is served. Like, that wasn't a red flag to you? And then there's nothing but women. It was like 20 women in there, and then the girl beside her was like, so when does the date start? And she's like, oh, sweetie.
Right.
Yeah,
she definitely
she took an L bad this episode.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
But,
anything
Sherelle,
you want to add to that, Sarah?
No, I was just gonna say, in Quinn's defense, the girl beside her was like, "Is the date after this?"
She was more ditzy.
This is true.
I mean, in Quinn's defense, there's also someone else that's just as gullible and just as desperate. So
right.
The whole thing was ridiculous, and I was a bit, taken aback by the fact that it was a pyramid scheme. But you know what? In his defense, though, shit, that's how you do it.
Listen,
go
smart.
on.
That's also how you get popped. Because don't let me have spent money. Don't let me have spent money. Like, think about it. This is first impressions are lasting impressions.
All he has to do is meet women online and invite them to.
But
event.
Quinn got a
But I went out of my way, right?
So she got dressed up.
They all look really nice.
Listen,
she probably ordered an Uber Black to get there. That's starting at like 25 just to order.
Listen, I definitely do not think that I would have stayed, because I would have been mortified. But it seems like her and Angie is having bad luck with this whole dating situation, even though Angie was not looking. Because, ma'am, what now? I am just, y'all know I'm not a fan, so I'm not even gonna do nothing. I'm gonna just throw it over to Jamal so he can talk about it, because I'm gonna just sit here and mind my business.
I've had similar, and let me be intentional when I say this. I've had similar situations where you meet somebody, you vibe, and then y'all disconnect, and it's like the what if, and then you see them later, and it's like, oh, what's up? And you feel like, oh, okay, I got a second chance. Let me try my hand and see what happens. I was rooting for her then. And even she, one thing I can say, Angie, she get hers. You know what I'm saying?
She definitely
Dude,
does.
dude topped her off in the car, and she was like, "Okay, bet that was awesome. So when are we going to your house?" And he was like, "We're
We
here."
here.
When he said that, I
I didn't know what
already
he
knew what it
meant.
was.
I
I
I
didn't know
didn't
knew
what he
know
what it
meant.
was,
either.
and I was like, "Oh,
I
she
didn't
don't
catch it
even
at
know."
first.
I knew it because he was just so like, "Oh yeah, we here." But I'm like, this man, damn. Well, he got
Mm-hmm.
10, so But nah, but that's the one thing that I was saying about episode 2 when she got offered the Get Out musical. When I mean, not episode 2, episode 1, where her and Quinn had that conversation about her singing in the hotel versus the open mic. And she was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Nah, we not the same, bruh. Like, we can't be doing this. We gotta survive. Like, yeah, I'm an
Right.
artist, but and then she was like, I don't even have a car to live out of. She was like,
Right.
nah, I gotta call this guy.
Hello.
That was her
Oh
coming to
my
Jesus moment to get
gosh.
her
It was
shit together
definitely
and
her
like go
moment.
get this money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't think that it was. I wasn't ready for it. I had no idea what we are already here meant. I I thought he just meant we're already here, like in the car, might as well. But like the whole idea of actually living out of your car, absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not. I'm not for it. I'm not for it. So,
Mm-mm.
very, very interesting. So, yeah, speaking of, your girl Camille is very awkward. Okay. She's now met Dr. Pruitt, and she is supposed to be having tea. And how do we feel about how she's behaving in the terms of like, a sister gotta, we got this connection. Like, what do we think
Yeah.
about this? Jamal over here shaking his head. So,
I hated it. I hated it for that exact reason that you just said it. Because it spoke to something that we as a people all know, but we don't speak about amongst ourselves, but we all know is there. Is like
mm-hmm.
Nina Simone said it best. My skin folk ain't my kinfolk. Like,
Right,
just because we're the same race, we don't have the same background.
Yeah.
So why am I just going to hook you up because we
right,
both black? And
right.
then she's just too eager to win her over, and that for
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
me is a red flag. And it actually irritates me because it's like I don't like when people try so hard to get me to like them. I
Right.
will like you by you being yourself.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
This act that you're putting on is making me not even want to be bothered with you. So she just every interaction she has with Dr. Pruitt, I just cringe at because I'm just like, just chill out,
Yeah.
relax. But I love the fact that Dr. Pruitt checked her and was like, we don't have the same struggle.
Right.
Like I was out there doing stuff. You talk a good game online, but where's your bootstraps at? Where's
Mm-hmm.
your foot in this struggle that you claim we both in? Because
Yeah.
I don't see the work. My work got
Right.
me to where I'm at now as being your boss, but what are you doing? So I think her in that whole scenario, just even with the protest that she mentioned, I'm like, you still doing it. You still
Yeah.
trying too
Mm-hmm.
hard
Right.
Mm-hmm.
to because you only mentioning it to get brownie points. It's
Yep.
not because you didn't even want to do it when your
Right.
girls brought it up to
We're
you
asking you.
in the
Exactly.
beginning. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Exactly.
I ain't gonna go further because I want to hear Sherelle's take on this before we go to that last part.
Yeah. So for me, I think Dr. Pruitt's main thing with Camille is the fact that she's not her authentic self. And
Mhm.
Dr. Pruitt picks up on that. And I don't like how, Camille acts around her. And I feel like just because we black, that doesn't mean that I'm going to give you an opportunity based on the color of your skin. I'm going to give you opportunity based on the fact that you deserve the opportunity.
Mhm.
And it's just not authentic to me, and it's trying too hard. It's very like giving brown nose and sucking up. Um, and again, Camille's just awkward as hell, and it just doesn't give her the confidence. I feel like to do what she needs to do. I think she lacks the confidence. So whether she's
Agree.
like very like book smart, she's not good at executing anything like outside of writing a paper, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like common sense, like left the building.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that Dr. Pruitt is indeed very, very tough, and she's very hard, and she has no nonsense. And I actually really like, you know, Whoopi Goldberg in this character.
Yeah, she does a really
She
good
does a
job.
great job. But I like that she doesn't pull any punches with Camille. And what's crazy too is like I thought about it, and I was like, part of the reason why I feel like Dr. Pruitt is so hard on Camille is because it's kind of giving mentor versus you can potentially like work with me as like a right hand person
Up
or
here.
as a professor. So for me, it's like she's not ready. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm thinking about like a supervisor position or a boss, yeah, you are my mentor, but I can also like kind of like do your job in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Camille can't do what Dr. Pruitt does. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I feel like she's so hard on her. And then I think that's why she's like not really trying to give her certain opportunities, because she's just like, you're not ready. And I'm going to do what I can to like mentor you and help you get to where you want to be, but you're not ready to be where you want to be
Yeah.
right now.
I think that also just really quickly is that like she doesn't know how to read the room. She doesn't know how to
Mm-mm.
read cues. And what I did like is that when she touched Dr. Pruitt, the uncomfortableness that she gave was just like, and I think that's something that people need to actually think about before they actually touch people, because not a lot of people like to be touched and you just
Yep.
don't know. So I think that was very interesting. I'm gonna throw it over to Jamal because he's anxious for this last point. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Mm.
oh, you not ready
I was
for
just
it?
feeling you. I was just feeling.
Uh-uh.
I'm feeling what y'all both saying because, like, another thing I was going to mention is when what Sherelle was saying about what she sees in what Dr. Pruitt sees in Camille. Dr. Pruitt also might see a little bit of herself in the mistakes that she made, and she
Mm-hmm.
might, as she was coming up, and she might be trying to check her on that so that she doesn't make
Right.
those same mistakes. Because what if Dr. Pruitt was just like Camille, and the way that she was just like Camille is what prevented her from getting other things, and then she then learned and became who she is now. That's all
Mhm.
that I was looking. That's why I was so into it when Sherelle was saying something. I was like, yeah,
Oh,
that makes
okay,
sense.
okay,
That makes sense
gotcha,
too.
Yeah.
gotcha.
But
Okay.
since you threw it, if you going to throw it, I'm gonna catch
Listen,
it. They
go
don't know
ahead,
about
catch
that
it.
part yet. Uh, sister, Miss Dr. Camille. Miss Dr. Camille then shows up at this at this protest, and even there she's awkward when she starts talking
Yeah.
because she's thrown off by the facilitator who's about to announce her to come on to speak because he's not
Mm-hmm.
speaking eloquently and he's not making sense to her or anyone, I don't think. And then
Mm-hmm.
as she gets up to start to speak to correct him, it's just like, girl, ain't nobody asked you that about the
Right.
Mhm.
whole
Nobody
food
asked
and
you.
the pharaoh and all of that.
The
But
Pharaoh
then
Yeah.
says,
when she sees Dr. Pruitt, she then tries to go hard, and I'm just like, if activism is your thing, you're
you're
going
gonna
to
have
go
to,
hard from the minute. You don't need to
right,
see your audience to speak your mind if this is what you
right.
truly meant.
Yep.
But with that being said, I did appreciate what she was saying in the protest against the new restaurant coming, but she doesn't know she's about to put her foot in her mouth because she turned that corner and
Mm-hmm.
she sees Ian. And
Yeah.
Ian kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, let me show you something real quick. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's
Right.
like, why you got an issue? And he rips it off and he shows that that's his restaurant.
Head chef, right. Yeah.
So,
Definitely a
ooh.
little bit of what the fucks on both of their parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What I mean, there's so many different things I feel going on with like Ian and Camille, and quite frankly, I'm not a fan because there's so much misleading going on his part, like the conversations that he could have had with her, that he didn't have, and I'm just like not a fan.
Yeah.
And of course, now they're having this banter back and forth, arguing, and he thinks that she's this spiteful enough to decide that she wants to protest his restaurant, which says a lot about what he thinks about her. And that's, you know what I mean? But then Dr. Pruitt comes around the corner, as you know, in all of the conversation of the argument she just witnessed, and she's like, I'm gonna forget about that, but let me ask you to be on the panel. And I like that she said, well, my this one girl, she's got sick, she got kids or something, and the other one brought her dog, she's like, well, and I just came to you, like you're my third, fourth option. And then she's like, you want me to do that today? Today? She's like, when your boss asks you to do something, you just say yes.
Yeah.
So that interaction is very interesting. Not so much so as to what happens after at the yoga spot. So let's talk about it. Would we be so outrageous in a space like a yoga class? Like, do you think that if you were really upset and like pet peeves, I guess those or peeves, you would be in yoga class knowing that it's a quiet space? Would you be reacting the way that they were reacting? What do you think, Shiro?
No. And it's so funny that you said that, because I've seen a lot of movies where they're in yoga and there's like a discussion in yoga class, and then everybody around them's like, shh. So it's so funny that they decide to do yoga scenes as a way for people to vent, and that's just not the space for that. The conversation with the N-word, it's interesting because I agree with them. Everybody's the N-word when you're Black, right? Even if you're white. So
quickly.
Yeah. So I mean, I know a lot of Black people don't like the term and they don't call people that term, but in this scene, it's like very much reality, and it happens because it's almost like it's slang for us now. You know what I mean? It's like not necessarily the negative connotation that it actually has. It's just slang for us. And it's how we describe things in people sometimes. We are the only people that can use this word, but it describes absolutely any and everybody that we wanted to describe in any moment, So I definitely don't think it was the right place, but the conversation is genuine and it's real. We do it sometimes,
Right. What do you think about the twerking scenes? As soon as I saw that, I thought of you. I said, Lord.
Okay. So, people that know my personality know that I can be outgoing. Let me say that. I'm really actually not an outgoing person, but I can be.
You kind of quiet.
I promise you, until I get comfortable, I'm quiet as a church mouse. You don't even know I'm there. But that is actually not my reaction. Like, that would not be something I'd be like, oh God. Like, the Quinn that we met in episode 1 to the Quinn now in episode 4 with this whole going off like this. I'm like, girl, shorty, where you been at? And then,
right.
The whole, that's another read the room situation. Like, first of all, if you look at it, it might have been a collective of 4, maybe 5 Black people in that yoga class. So it's just like, me personally, I'm like, chill out. It's like, stop saying it so loud. And then when Camille was like, I mean, we can say it because we are, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the whole twerker part, now that's the petty in me coming out, because it's like, we done had this exchange and you still giving me fever. So I'm like, all right, forget it then I'm just going to show my whole ass. But the way that they reacted to Brittany sitting there while they, making their way out the door is the same way that I would have reacted. I'm like, come on, like,
that was perfect.
That was very real.
But can we talk about how Brittany comes in? Like, remember episode 2, they was all madly in love. I think his name is Ben or something. I can't remember.
We don't even care.
It doesn't matter. But they were so in love, and we said that was the worst thing for the engagement party, and then they break up.
Yes.
And she said they're all brokenhearted. But I can see that happening.
the invite to the bachelor, to the strip club, because now she's throwing a fuck love party, right? Is
Yeah.
hilarious, and I'm all here for it. And I think that it's very interesting because she wasn't really a main character, so it was just kind of like, oh, okay, she gets a little bit of a more, she gets a more part, kind of, so to speak, or whatever. So yeah, I like it. I listen, I'm all for a strip club on any day, quite frankly. So that's that. But let's go with your girl Angie again and her foolishness, okay? Because now she needs, she decides she's gonna go ahead and do the Get Out the musical, and she needs this money, right? So she goes to Quinn to ask for the money, and Quinn is like, I thought this was gonna stop. And now she sees this white woman in the store who needs a Jamaican nanny.
Racist.
Has to be
Ma'am,
Jamaican.
has to be Jamaican because she missed her Jamaican nanny. What she should have got was slapped, but
Agreed.
I digress. Okay. So
Look at you, okay?
Listen, so now Angie puts on the worst Jamaican accent I've ever heard in my life, okay? And
Not worse than Mama's.
Listen, child. Well, listen, I'm glad Quinn got her accent together, okay? Because Quinn was fine, because I was waiting for her to do it. I figured as much at some point in time she was going to,
Yeah.
But yeah, so Angie decided to take on this role, right? What are we thinking? Like, is this her way of picking up the pieces and being an adult and saying, well, I mean, yeah, at least I gotta fake it till I make it, but I need this money to be in this musical. How are we feeling about that? Because I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on it. Like, what you think, Sherelle?
I feel like the opportunity just magically presented itself. It's like,
This is
like, okay, I'm just going to go slide in
spell
this.
it a lot.
I'm going to take advantage of this situation right now. I need this $600. And I don't need to be a nanny forever. I just need to get the job because she's going to get the advance. So she's like, I just need to get the job, and then like I can do whatever. So it's just crazy how the opportunity just presented itself. I probably would have did something like that too.
right.
Sister, not I.
I can't fake no accent though, but
I said listen, the opportunity presented itself, but I don't know if that was first. If she gonna fall for it, okay, I'm gonna take your $600
absolutely, because
you fell for it.
She was definitely clueless.
Sri Lanka, Jamaica, what? I digress.
But here's my
Jamaica,
thing though.
Whatever.
Why did she have to have a Jamaican accent? Because that speaks to the ignorance of both the lady trying to hire her and her feeding right into it. Like, you could be Jamaican.
Most Jamaicans have accents though. Especially
right,
from
but
New
I'm
York.
saying like,
they're from New York.
I could be right, but I could be Jamaican and have everything, embody every characteristic of your stereotypical Jamaican that has the accent, and still do the job right. But her putting on that accent was just, I was like, oh hell, here we go again. But I Quinn calling her out about it being cultural appropriation, I was like, she got a point. But at the same time, I think what this show is doing that I'm loving is taking the things that we see every day from majority white people, using whatever way that they got to get ahead to get ahead.
Yeah.
And now we're using it as at our best in our best way possible. Advantage. Thank you. Me and words today. I don't know.
Listen,
but
it's all happens to us all.
It fucked me up because the lady was just like, it was one point she was like, I don't know what you just said, but God bless you. So here's my information. Like, how really? Wow. Like, you got to get this stranger you don't even know your whole address. She can come in there and light your whole joint up.
Right. Listen, she don't care.
Like it. I love it.
She don't care. Yeah. So listen, Angie is a mess, and sometimes I just be having these moments where I'll be like, really? Like I was just rooting for you. We were all rooting for you, and you're doing this. So let's listen. Your girl Your girl Ty is on one,
Oh,
okay?
baby.
And I wanted to talk about this. I think this is a very important part. The barbershop is a safe space. The barbershop is a safe space. You are a woman who is mask presenting, and you're in a barbershop. Now, was that inappropriate? Was it over the top? I feel like it was disrespectful in terms of like it was just over the top. Like I don't think he really would have done all that on a, I think he went above and beyond because he knew that she was in there. But like, what do we think about that statement that he said in regards to it being a safe space for men? You know, is that something that is true? I mean, because it is true, but is it like rude, especially the comment that he made to her in reference to like she should stop trying so hard to be a man, which I don't think is true at all for Ty. So what do we think about that, Jamal? What's your thoughts?
It was all the above. It was rude. It was over the top. It was extra. It was, to me, the first thing that came into my head was, first of all, he's lying and he has a small penis and he barely gets any. That's why he's coming in there yelling at the top of his lungs about
Loud,
finally
yeah.
getting some. Because I've been in barbershops all my life. Ain't no man ever just walking up in the barbershop just, hey yo, let me tell you about this joint I bust last night. Nah, we ain't doing that, fam. That's not happening at any barbershop I know. And if anything, the barbers that are already in there, they're not talking like that amongst each other unless they can read the room and know that these people in here, it's their regulars they joke like this all the time with. And ain't nobody, it's just non-believable for him to come in there like that. That's just one. But as far as how his disrespect for her because of her sexuality and how she presents, I've seen that happen a lot, and it's always by men that are threatened by a strong woman. That's the first thing that comes into my head, and it's just like the first thing you're going to do is say she's trying to be a dude. But on the flip side, women hit that too when they see a gay man in the hair salon or nail salon, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, you want to be me?"
Yeah.
I've had that experience. I personally have had that experience.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but but I think that whole situation. What I did not like the most, it wasn't even so much about him saying what he was saying. It was about what Homeboy was not saying.
Yeah,
because even though that's your family, this is your business.
Right.
Because if it was a man in here that didn't appreciate how you was talking,
you would have cut it.
What you want to do about? You would have checked that. But
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, that's my family, so I can't check them. Nah, kid, you a sucker. So I rode with her for standing up and sticking her, standing her ground and getting up. But baby, the way she got up, at least take all of it off, and then I'm out.
Right.
With the hat.
Hit me with the unicycle in the front. Like, no.
Exactly.
That cracked me up.
What you thinking, Sherelle?
So let me ask you this.
My take
go ahead, Brandon.
Let me ask you: have you all suffered through something like that though, like being in an uncomfortable spot?
Not when it came to being a woman. Well, actually, I have.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I've definitely had to pull, a friend or two to the side and be like, "Listen, like I know I'm the homie, but like what you're not going to do is all that extra, because I feel like, it's disrespectful. Like you see me standing here, respect me enough not to have that kind of conversation. And if you're going to have it, you can be respectful about the conversation. I feel like, again, like what we said earlier, Jamal, he was just so extra. Like, man, these hoes do anything for a 6-piece, no fries. I'm like, what? It was just corny to me. It was very corny, giving a lot of little dick energy. So yeah.
So for me, like my experience was at a nightclub actually, where a guy threw a drink on me. So that was different. So while I wasn't like a situation where I was in the company of people disrespecting women, in the space, but I actually had a guy throw a drink on me. So that was quite an interesting experience in the nightclub. But my take on the barbershop scene, number one, first, it was given very much homophobic vibes.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
His lack of respect, and I just don't even see why that would even be like the energy that he was giving. And that's what makes me feel like it was very homophobic. Because I'm pretty sure that's like not, even if you did do all of that, you're not about to go in a barbershop and have the discussion like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
my thing is, I think what they were trying to do with this scene was show the lack of accountability that men give their friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that they touched on it, but it wasn't in a way that was a teachable moment, because
Right.
he could
There
have
you go.
done the right thing in that moment, to where
Yeah.
he would have stepped up. I don't care if we are family. You still need to be corrected, and you
Yeah.
still need to correct him regardless of if he's blood or not. You know,
I agree.
you have to. I feel like men have to lead men sometimes, and in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
he failed the mission completely.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and I didn't like that at all. It was very disrespectful, and if I was Ty, I would never ever ever support that establishment ever again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree.
And I
Okay.
wouldn't have paid,
Well,
and I hope she didn't pay either.
I
no,
was
you know, she
thinking
left
that
and didn't
same
pay,
Yeah,
so
thing.
she probably just, yeah,
she
she just
left.
walked out.
He'll
So
be all
yeah,
right. You ain't doing it besides
you're
taking
not
pay
getting
more
no
of my
cash app from
nigga.
me.
Yeah,
And then it was
Exactly.
no.
And if
funny
we
too, like in that
family, I'm checking
scene.
you harder.
And it was
Right.
funny too, even in the scene as she was walking out, he was like laughing, and I'm just like, that's not cool. Like,
Was it something I
Yeah.
said?
yeah, like I
Right. He
just don't
didn't.
even
Yeah, he didn't
understand
care.
the. It was just
Yeah.
very disrespectful.
It was very
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful, and it just wasn't. It wasn't cool at all, and I agree. I would never go back to that establishment again, let alone giving them any sort of
Okay.
business. So yeah, unfortunate for
Mm-hmm.
him. But your girl, so while Ty is out looking for a new hairstylist or new barber, your girl Camille is over here having a semi good time on the panel
She's not.
she until she's not, until she gets a little personal. Now I want to ask this question to you guys and to the people watching. Have you ever been in a space where you were doing like a debate or having a conversation about something in particular and then went off the rift because it triggered something personal to you? Like, has that ever happened to you? Because I feel like I've been able to separate the two.
Well,
First of all, I just feel like Camille, they make her so immature, so insecure, so like lacking confidence, and doesn't have the wherewithal to like read the room properly. And I'm just kind of disappointed in that. But nonetheless, my question still remains: like, have you ever been in a space where you're debating something and then you go off the ribs? Not to mention that Jameson is cute, but we're gonna get
Good
back to
God,
that. Go
yes he
ahead.
is. I got a
What
new
you saying,
boyfriend.
Jamal?
I haven't gone off the riff. I may have gotten a little bit more passionate because
Hmm.
it did hit home. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I'm not about to take my experience and throw it in here. But it's, I mean, throw it into that type of debate. But that exchange between them, it was intriguing. I mean, it was entertaining in both a stimulating way and a comedic way,
Mhm.
because
Hmm.
when they touched on the topics of the charter schools and about them both being products of public schools, and Camille was like, "Well, wait a minute. So you damn sure should know. It's like you should know
Right.
better." And that brings me to like conversations I had with some of my friends that are parents, where we all grew up together, we all went to school together, public schools, and all of their children are in private schools or charter schools and stuff like that. And it's just like,
Hmm.
well, why isn't the same public school education that was good enough for you not good enough for your children? But then it's
Right.
like you gotta think and I think that's where Camille was going. And then Jameson fired back with, these aren't the same times. So
Right.
these charter school, the charter school I'm trying to make is for the advancement and of boys that I see myself in. But Camille made a good point. Why is it just about the boys? Why isn't it
Yeah.
about the girls? And I
Right.
love the fact that she called the white guy apple slice, because at first when I watched it twice, And the first time I was like,
Yeah.
is this a racist comment she's calling like a racist name she's calling him? And then when they was talking about the whole McDonald's
McDonald's.
situation, and he was like, I
Mm-hmm.
like the apple slices. I was like, oh, that's where apple slice came in. But Camille took that and killed it. Like
Yeah.
Dr. Pruitt said
Yeah.
it was good, and then it
Until it
went off the
wasn't.
rails.
Until it went off
Yeah.
the fucking rails. Yeah. First of all, I
Right.
just love when Whoopi curses because the way she curses is always like super like on point and always serious. It's never been in a joking manner. But
Hmm.
this role is like really perfect for her and
So
I really
perfect.
enjoy it. But yeah, so she decides that Dr. Pruitt says she needs to meet her at 9 a.m. for them to discuss it, afterwards. And she and the girls decided they're gonna go hit the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him down
Now,
that. Hit him down that.
have you ever been to a male and or female strip club? And do they read the room? Because that man was all up on Ty. He knew damn well Ty ain't want no dick.
No, they do not
Oh
read
my
the
God.
room at all. I
They
actually
go
had
for the
they go
money.
hard. If anything, I'm sorry to be taking this real quick because you ain't throw it up to either one of us.
No, it's
But
okay.
I actually went to my birthday, my 33rd, exotic sipping pains, right? And I had
Oh,
my homegirl Candace, who is a stud, and it was like the strippers were adamant about like really going hard on her because she's not interested in no man, let alone no dick. Like that's not her thing. She wants women. And so they definitely don't read it. She's very much a Thai, but
mm.
they don't read the room at all. At all. Some women don't either, but I don't mind. I mean, I'm not taking you home, but have your fun.
Yeah. So, Jamal, to your point about that, though, is if you think about it, a lot of male strippers are actually gay or bisexual. So for them, it's probably more comfortable for them to go hard on the more dominant woman because there's no interest on either end. And it's probably a little bit more comfortable for them.
So you think
So I think
I said
about
so you think
what about them
the
being.
interest on either end. You will be surprised.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but on the outside looking in, as a straight woman, it is giving it's giving what's more comfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and then also too, men like a challenge. So if she is a dominant lesbian, they're going to be like, oh, let me see if I can
Right.
test her
Yeah.
out.
Mhm.
See how lesbian she really is, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of male strippers.
First of all, don't ever touch a woman's hat. Okay, that's number one. Your girl looked like Don King, and she
She
was
looks
having
amazing.
a bad hair day after going and trying the Paradiso, which clearly should be more like
Paradisio.
Helicio, because
She's
that was
like, this
hell
shit
happening on
stinks.
her head, and so I feel like that was very interesting. Now, of course, one of our characters who we haven't seen on camera in a while, my man Sean, aka Skeeta, cause yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Bobby.
oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So
like
he be on like a
yes,
lot of BET movies,
Plus.
He does like a lot more, like I guess consider them like black films or like black independent films.
Mhm.
And I do see him a lot in like that. He was in that male stripper movie too. So he must like playing
Chocolate
strippers.
City.
oh, he
Chocolate City, he
was,
was. That's
he
exactly
was.
what it was. So yeah, we see him a
Mhm.
lot in like the black
Well,
films.
I mean, I
But
love
it
it
was
for
good
him.
to see him though, right? And
Yes,
then
he
to
It
see
killed
was
him
good to
it.
see.
and Megan back together since Cousin
And she
Skeeter.
even did a shout out to Cousin
She did a
Skeeter. She
shout
was
out
Yes,
like,
to
she
you look like
did.
this
Cousin
She
boy named
did.
Skeeter.
Bobby I used to date.
To
You had an
date.
annoying Cousin Skeeter.
Yep,
Hmm.
yep. I thought that was a very cute, like, so to speak, a round of applause or kudos,
Yeah, that
to
was
where they
dope.
kind of came from.
Mhm.
But Quinn
And
debos these
Sean.
women out of the way to get to Sean, and they hit it off, and they in the back, talking. Um, So, what do we think about Quinn trying this whole like, no, 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 nope, I'm not here for love. I'm just here for sex. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm no longer looking for a good man, and of course, they end up having sex, and then in walks the kid afterwards, right? But I mean, just overall, the sex. Are we having sex with strippers? Like, and not to say that having sex with a stripper is a bad thing, but like, I think I'm a little scared. Just
Men
a
do it all the
smidge.
time.
Just a smidge of scared. I think it's interesting to see her kind of glowing though with Sean. I mean, at least I thought she glowed.
She
What do you
did.
think, Sherelle?
They had a chemistry. It was cute. But men
Mm-hmm.
have sex with strippers all the time, you know?
This
So
is
I
true.
don't see why women wouldn't have sex with male strippers.
This is true.
I'm not, but have a blast. It was her one night stand opportunity because I guess she
Mm-hmm.
felt like she never had one before. So it was her way of like being free
Living in the
and
moment. Yeah.
liberating.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, go for it, Quinn. But they definitely had like a chemistry, and I thought it was
They
cute.
did. But not the whole feeling of, your color on the count of three. What's your favorite color? Like, if you don't get your
Mm-hmm.
5-year-old question having ass out of here,
That was definitely
Quinn,
corny.
it was
That was
corny.
very that was very middle school. Like you hang up first. No, you hang up first. Like yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Exactly. That's what I thought
Yeah,
about
it
it.
was it was corny.
She, I Quinn just she
Naive.
that was another moment of her feeling human. I mean, her coming off human to me because it's like she came out with intentions for one thing, and now she finds herself like, I don't want to like you, but I do like you. Like I like this
Right.
time we having, and this was my intention when I came out, and now you got
Right.
me feeling going back into the old Quinn that don't get what she wants and gets her point, gets her man, and I feel like I'm finding my man, but it's not in the package that I want my man to come in. And I
Yeah.
think she was. I honestly think that's part of what stopped her from wanting to really like him, and that's why she switched it. And she'd be like, "But nah, but we can fuck though." Like that's how
Right.
it was for real. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Um, to speak on your comment real quick, Sherelle, about men having sex with strippers and women not having sex with. Let's not forget the whole Bolo situation with Portia.
Well, no, no, no.
And
I said that men have sex with strippers, so I don't see why women wouldn't have sex with.
oh well, yeah, but it's a lot of women that do it all the time too. Because
Yeah,
I know
I
I
don't
have
doubt,
some
I don't
homeboy.
doubt that they do. I'm just saying,
Hmm.
if a man can have sex with a stripper, then I'm sure that a woman
Oh, why can't a
would.
women? Yeah,
But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, you know.
I
Yeah.
And
mean,
I'm not knocking it. Have a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree.
I mean, if it's space and
No,
opportunity,
absolutely not.
I
Unless
might.
I don't know about
I
him and
ain't
I didn't
lying.
meet him at the strip club, then I can't help that he's a stripper.
But but think about this, right? You finding out you already like you attracted to the man in the face, all right? You could tell from the outline of his clothes he got a nice body.
Yeah.
Then you find out he's a stripper and you see the moves while he's on stage, you see the equipment while he's on stage. I mean, if he's feeling a little, don't fight the feeling. That's all I'm saying. Don't fight the
So let's just ask this question real quick to the viewers and to you guys. Would you date a stripper?
feeling. Should I think I have dated one? I just say no.
Right. Same here. I ain't gonna hold you. I definitely think that's the case.
That's funny. Nah.
Sherelle, what you say?
Nope.
No, not even if he's just
She not
stripping to
having it.
become a nurse. I mean, come on, Sherelle. He's just trying
The
to.
only way that I would is if I didn't know.
Oh, if you didn't know.
And then
But
he
see,
was
but
just like,
if he was doing that and you didn't know and then you found out, would that be the end of
if
your
I liked
relationship?
him, I would be like, all right, yeah, we can still talk. But then in the back of my mind, I'm probably like, I'm about to break up with him.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel coming from you because it's like it's the dishonesty aspect of it because
And it's
even
not even
though
about him being dishonest. I mean, because if I don't ask the questions, or if you know, if you don't tell me something like that, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. versus like you lying about not having, like lying about not having a kid and you really got a kid,
Right.
or
Now
you're
that's
withholding
That's
the
a
fact
big
that you had a
deal.
kid. It's a big difference. I mean, if you
Yeah.
withhold that you are a stripper, and then I find out because you tell me, or I'm not going to a male strip club, so I won't see you in a strip club unless you at a woman's strip club and I don't know. But if I find out, I'm gonna still talk to you. I'm gonna still, like you or whatever. But in the back of my mind, that's when my escape plan starts coming in, and then I'm starting to
Right.
like slowly exit the situation because that's just not ideal for me.
I think
I
it speaks to the substance. What people think strippers might not have any substance to them, and I think that's why people might not want to date them. And I see that with Quinn, how she was with Sean. Like, I don't want you to be a nice guy. I just want you to fit. It's like she wanted him to fit that image of a stripper, and that's why she wanted to have sex with him. She didn't want to
Yeah,
vibe. She just wanted to get her rocks off.
because for me, it's like, well, what
mm-hmm.
else are you doing? Like other than stripping, like or like what is your goal? Because you can't be 70 still stripping. So like if you are a male stripper, I mean, if you're a stripper, period, like that's cool. But what are your plans? Like, are you going to be a
Hmm.
stripper forever?
She
And if that's the
said,
case, cool. But for me, that doesn't work.
listen,
I'm with
elderly
you.
folks need, they need strippers too. Sherelle, dang, let them live.
No, but I'm just saying, like, what is your goal?
Look,
What's the end goal? What's the end game?
shaking the shaking the one in their hand as they trying to put the
Hello,
dude in the G string.
listen.
I
I
don't know. For me, I
cannot.
mean, I just feel like for me to date a stripper, what is your goal? Because even
Mm-hmm.
like
I
with
got you.
Sean, what is your goal? Like you have a kid. I mean, you don't have a regular job.
Right.
I can see you stripping on the side, and you work in tech during the day. But sir, your only job is to be a stripper. So what is your goal? You know what I mean? Like that's just like my big deal. Is like what's the end game? Because
Mhm.
most strippers don't have like an end game for the most part. You know what I mean? And then
Well,
some
some
that do.
do.
Well, now I'm about to say, and then if you do, it's like you want to build a business, so you getting your money into, or you paying for
Mm-hmm.
your way through school, stuff like that. So for me, with Sean in particular, what's your plan?
Right. What's your plan? He seemed extremely smart to
Mhm.
not have
A
an
plan.
idea of what he wants to do afterwards and a plan. So yeah, I agree with that. Um, so yeah, she has a ball. She decided she wants to take it to take it out into the bedroom. And your girl Camille leaves, and like Jamal, we talked about earlier, before we came on, was that your girl Camille being nosy, okay, spying on Mira on her Instagram page.
Doing
Um,
what women do.
uh, Not all of us.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know, I'm messing with you. And decides that she's going to take Jameson up on his offer. Now, how I mean, in my head, I feel like it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be alone tonight, so let me go and hang out with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think she genuinely like found interest in him like during their time out and their date? Jamal, what
Yeah.
do you think?
I think at first it was an opportunity of circumstance, but then as time would have it, she actually ended up getting to like him, and I like their chemistry, the way they bounce off of each other, because when even after the shit show of the panel, they ran into each other. We forgot to mention that they ran into each other at Red
Correct.
Lobster,
Mm-hmm.
and he caught the vibe, and we caught the vibe
We
watching.
caught the vibe.
So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because he said, because then he leaves her, he was like, maybe, what I'm saying, we can go out for biscuit, we can discuss something else in, over wine or something like that, and gave her that look, and she was like, wait a minute. But so um for them to then later on meet up, I actually like that idea. I loved the date, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I
Yeah.
Absolutely.
actually have, I've had that actually similar situation in that same time frame, like in the winter, spontaneous date, multi area, say multi location date. and it was probably my most favorite date to date. But I think it's a genuine connection because hell, she ended up kissing him. She ended up back at his house and
Let me
doing the
tell you,
grown up, as the kids
I
would
love
say.
that kiss. I love that kiss. I'm a fan of really good
Yeah.
on-screen kisses, and I feel like they did a good job with that.
Same.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually didn't like
So
the kiss because I was like, they being so careful. Like, where is it? It was passion, but it was just like, I don't know. I
You
was like,
said
oh, she
careful.
American.
You
I didn't
trying to
like,
put your thumb
okay,
down my mouth, Jamal?
no,
Jeez.
not that, but it seemed, it almost seemed like they didn't know what to do with their mouths on each other's lips. But I did like what I really appreciated was his eagerness to please her by touching her on all the spots that would possibly make her hot and get her hot. Like I love that
Yeah, that was a good scene.
intimacy.
Yeah,
Like, child, who
I
am I
know,
phone?
right?
It's like I'm
We
joking. I'm joking.
right. Hey, big head, I'm about to send me a text out right now, knowing damn well I ain't
don't
got
do
no
that,
business
girl.
doing that.
Later.
Listen, that's why I just said I ain't finna do it. I ain't
Uh-uh.
finna do it. So, I'm trying to think of, my brain is drawing a blank right now, but I
The
feel
morning
like,
after.
yes, there we go. The morning after, right? And we can wrap it up here. But what do we feel about the whole, oh my God, I overslept, of course. And then, him. Oh, first of all, so here's two parts. I'm gonna give you mine, and then you guys can go and we can wrap up. I was thinking, first of all, you should ask to use my laptop, right? That's number one. And then number two is it really such a bad thing that this man did his research on you to create the perfect date, so to speak? Yeah, so those are my two thoughts. Sherelle, what you got?
So for me, so he obviously looked up her Instagram and he got ideas from her Instagram. Um, so for me, like that's cool. But I feel like he might have like overdid it and it scared her. So I definitely understand like her reservations because that would have scared me too. I don't know that I would have handled it the way she handled it, but it does like raise like a red flag to me, and I think we need to have a deeper conversation. And I do like that he justified, what was going on, and like I appreciate it because in a way most men don't know how to plan a date. So the
Right.
only way to get clues and ideas is to kind of like see their Instagram and see their social media and see what they like. Maybe they posted their favorite restaurant, and in this case he used the opportunity to go to Red Lobster because he saw her
Right. Red
Instagram.
Lobster.
So that was his way of like sliding in there and having an opportunity. But that's also scary, and also why it's important not to post your location on social media. So that part I was like, nah, I don't like that. But as far as like the arcade situation and like just kind of like getting like ideas of how to like take her out on a date so that she can have fun and we can have fun, I do like that. But for him to pop up at the Red Lobster, that wasn't cool.
I wonder if he knew her location, because I don't think she posted. I think he said that she just had mentioned that she was at Red Lobster often or something like that. I can't remember, but we'll have to dig deep into that on our next part of the review. But what do you think, Jamal?
I think that that situation could have been handled better had he played it to his sources. Because, for instance, when they went to the arcade, right? That could have been his way of saying, well, when I slid in your DMs earlier on Instagram, I saw a few, I browsed some of your pictures from the past, some of your posts from the past, and I tried to get an idea of stuff you like. So that's why I brought you here. Had he did that, that would have made the morning after they slept together less awkward, because that would have shown he has initiative because he's going there.
Yeah.
But her reaction was what was expected. Like, hell, we gotta finish. We gotta start that up another time because it's a lot that he mentioned some key points too that it's very the strangers in the house. Danger. So
Yeah,
we gotta
danger.
Part 2, y'all. Part 2.
Yes, part two.
Ladies, do not post your location on social media until you leave.
Do not.
Men don't post your location on social because women
Don't
call
post
men
your
like
location.
me to pull up.
Do not do that. Yes, but we will definitely have part 2 coming soon. But we wanted to let you all know that we are here and we are definitely reviewing Harlem. So please leave us your thoughts, your comments. If you have questions or anything that you want us to cover, let us know and we will definitely do our best to get with it. All right. So until next time, we will see you.
Bye.
Deuces.